Good morning. Today's lesson is how to manage our elected bribe liars. First, you have to understand that you are the manager of the United States. That's your job. The country belongs to you. You're one of the 300 million authorities here. That's what we the people are. We're the authorities, and it's up to us to manage the elected bribe liars who are destroying our country. So this is about management. First thing you have to do in management is identify the problems. After you identify the problems, then you can propose solutions, pick the best one, and solve all of the problems. Now, the first problem is that Congress repealed freedom of speech in 1938. Most of you don't know that because you can say anything you want, and you can go on the internet and say anything you want, except for Facebook banning you when you tell the truth. But other than that, you can go on YouTube or go to any groups or any site on the internet. You can write a blog and say absolutely anything you want. So maybe you think you have freedom of speech, but what you don't have is the ability to speak to the whole country, to identify a problem, propose a solution, and ask the country to think about the solutions that have been proposed and come up with a decision on which solution is going to work best to solve the problem. Now, you can't do that because TV exists to lie to you all day, every day, and to prevent us from talking to each other by addressing the whole country to present problems and seek solutions. So the first problem we have to solve is to take TV away from the owners of the Federal Reserve who control Congress. When we take TV away, we can regain our freedom of speech, and we can go on TV and say, hey, 300 million owners of the United States, we have a problem. We have 535 bribe-lying scumbags in Congress who have been committing treason for 104 years by allowing the Federal Reserve to exist to rob us, and now we have to figure out how to solve that problem. Well, the solution is pretty simple. All you have to do is somehow inform those 300 million people that Congress is robbing all of us, and then all 300 million of them will say, hey, no, I don't want to be robbed, so let's fire Congress and have honest people in there representing us. It's a pretty simple solution, and you as a manager have to take a part in implementing that solution because it's your country. It's like managing your children. If your children's going into your wallet and stealing all your money while you're sleeping and then go buying drugs, you're going to figure out that it was one of your kids that did that, and you're going to put a stop to it somehow. Now, if you don't know that Congress is robbing you every day, you have to figure that out. You have to look at the problem. You think, well, I got to pay taxes every day because somebody tells me I have to, and they're going to come and throw me in jail if I don't pay them. You believe that that's the way America is because you won't read anything. So as a manager of the United States, you haven't done your job. You haven't looked around to see what's going on in your country. You haven't supervised the people that you hired to manage your affairs for you. It's your own fault. You have to pay attention. You have to read things. You have to watch what your employees are doing. And when they're robbing you, you have to stop them. Is that difficult to understand? The fact that you're the one in charge of the country? The 300 million people have to understand that each one of them is running a country. And it's real simple to do. All you have to do is use some common sense and say, hey, do I want representatives in there robbing me every day? Do I want representatives poisoning my water supply with fluoride? Do I want representatives sticking mercury into vaccines and damaging the brains of our children? Do I want representatives who lie to me every day on TV and never let an honest person use TV to speak to the nation? I think 300 million people would say, no, that's not what we want. Do 300 million managers of the United States want their freedom? Do they want to stop existing to pay debts that were foisted upon us by criminal bankers who own the Federal Reserves? Or do they want to enjoy their lives, have lots of leisure time, be free from paying debt, pay a reasonable price for your house instead of paying inflated prices, and pay it off in a couple of years, and not be stuck with utility bills that might be a few $100s a month, because the utility companies are allowed to exist by a corrupt Congress to rob everyone in the country. Those utilities, cable TV, where you pay to have the government and other liars on TV lie to you every day, well, that's a national resource. As the managers of the country, we can decide, hey, no, we don't want to allow someone to profit off of this. If we feel like watching TV, excuse me, so we can talk to each other, or we feel like watching a football game, then we should be able to do that without paying some company outrageous profits to rob us for the privilege of watching TV. We don't have to allow them to do that. We can just tell them to string the wires up and let everyone watch TV. No cost to us. Pay the workers for doing the job. Fire everybody that sends out bills. Customer service people who just lie to you every time you call to complain because they double the price again. We don't have to put up with that. We don't have to put up with anti-smoking Nazis telling us we can't smoke outside either. If you want to smoke, go ahead and smoke. Tell the anti-smoking Nazi to walk down the street. Why do we ever allow laws like that to be foisted upon us? You are the managers. You have to think of yourselves as managers. Do you want to solve the problem? Then start doing your job. You're running a country. You have to act that way. When Congress commits treason for 104 years, it makes sense to hang them. Do it on national TV and keep replaying it as an example to future generations that this is what happens when you're one of the 535 bribe liars who sells out your country and turns it into a slave nation instead of a nation of freedom. Your job. You could arrest Congress and keep them in prison for life. I'd rather hang them myself. I just think it makes a lot more sense. It's up to you, though. Common sense has to decide this, not voting. What do people want? What's the best solution to the problem? Should we put Congress in the stocks and let everyone spit on them? Tell me, what other solutions are there? You've got to solve the problem if you want your freedom. It's up to you. Will you think about that? Think of yourself as the owner of the country, because we have 300 million owners here. We're not supposed to have a bunch of lawyers sitting in Washington, D.C. making rules for us. We're supposed to make the rules, and we're not supposed to allow lawyers to do anything at all in our government, because lawyers are enemies of humanity. That's why the profession of law exists, to restrain the beasts of prey called men. Learn that. As managers, you're supposed to know that. Thanks for watching.